Hello, my name is Glenda from Soaps by Glenda, and I wanted to show you today how to make cherry blossoms soap. And I'm going to start by showing you how to make the blossoms, the flowers. I'm not trying to do something identical to the actual cherry blossoms, but something that will give the idea of a beautiful pink flower. Well, hopefully. I'm starting with some leftover soap, and this is not exactly well-conditioned soap dough, but it's going to work. Um, what I did is that I tried to grab as much as I could of the pink soap in this soap and then leave apart the blue portion. Then I shaped it into a cane, and the cane was oval shape, and what I did is that I pressed one edge to make it look like a teardrop shape. Out of this shape, I am cutting slices that are going to be the petals. Then pretty much all I have to do is press the petals together in the center by the pointy tip and just make them join. Because the soap is still moist, it's adherent to itself. I just have to press it, and then to add some detail, I'm going to roll some tiny pieces of white soap dough and put them in the center to resemble the stems of the flower. One thing to note is that I did try to texture them on the back, like to make sure that they are adhered to each other, and then I tried to curve some of the petals to give them a concave shape so that they look a little more realistic. And that's essentially all I did for the first flower. On the second and third ones, I tried to be more simple and only use 4 petals instead of the, let's see, I have 6 in this one. The second type of flowers that I did, I like them better as far as the color because they were a lighter pink, and I thought these look more like the cherry blossoms. But the soap dough had hardened and I couldn't soften it or knead it. So instead, what I did is that I peeled pieces off of it, and then with an oval mini cookie cutter. This is actually a tool that I bought, I believe, at Hobby Lobby in the polymer clay section, just to cut small petals out of it. And then, since this soap is too hard, it's too dry to adhere to itself, I was using some soap dough that was moist as the cord of the flower, and then adhering these drier pieces to it. Although I like the delicate look of these flowers, these are going to be very fragile and very easy to break. I did break a couple of the petals as I was making them. So the soaps that I make with these flowers, I'm probably just going to keep myself or just gift them locally so that they don't have to be shipped, and that way I avoid breaking them. The third type of flower that I did were the unopened blossoms, and I'm gonna use this as fillers. I have a cookie cutter shape, a mini one that has a teardrop shape or a leaf shape, and I'm just grabbing 3 of those shapes with the pointy tip up and simply squeezing the bottom together to join them. And then I'm just dropping a tiny piece of white soap dough in the center to represent the stem, and just using different tools, even a pencil. The white soap dough didn't want to stick in, so I did have to try this a couple times. Because of that, I tried also putting the white piece in the center of one of the petals before putting them together, and this time, instead of having the pointy tip up, I'm going to have the rounded end on top. And I'm pretty much just doing the same though. I'm using 3 petals, leaving the white piece in the middle, and then squeezing the bottom together to create the unopened cherry blossom. And as I held it with one hand, I used the other one to curve the petals outward, and so that it will look more natural. So that's how I make the embeds, and now on to the making of the soap. This is the recipe that I will be using, and I'm going to put a link in the description box below in case you want to see it. I'm going to start by measuring the fragrance. I will be using Cherry Blossoms from Brambleberry. It's probably my only favorite floral fragrance that I've tried. Now here are the oils, which are at 110 Fahrenheit or 43 Celsius. The light water solution was at about room temperature, so I added it and I stirred it in. Now if you are already familiar with how to make soap, you may want to skip just to the pour part, and I've included links in the description box below to that as well. And now I'm just going to blend it quickly until I reach emulsion. The mold that I will be using is a square Brambleberry individual cavity mold, which is my first time testing, so I wanted to do this soap to try it out. My original plan for this soap was to have 3 colors, pink, blue, and then leave 1/3 of the batter on color so that it will turn white. My idea was so that it would look like the sky, the clouds, and then the colors of the flowers. And if you want to know which colorants I'm using, they're also included on the blog post. I'm trying to get pastel colors by using very small amounts of the colorants. However, I forgot that I was going to leave 1/3 uncolored, and I just divided my butter in half. So I'm just going to have the 2 colors, the turquoise blue or the sky blue, and then the pink. After mixing the colorants in the soap batter, I'm going to add half of the fragrance to each portion. Once I started mixing the fragrance in, is that I noticed that there were white chunks of it on each container. So it wasn't really so much acceleration that I was experiencing. This is called rising. Perhaps it would have become acceleration if I had been slow to pour, but I started to pour it right away and it stayed very fluid when I did it. Initially, I thought I'll try the pour kiss like you see me doing here, but that's a technique that seems to work better in a slab mold rather than in individual cavity molds. I had been seeing it lately, so I thought I'll try, but it didn't quite work. Once I'm done pouring it, I'm going to give the mold a little shake to see if I can make the bubbles rise to the surface, and then I can pop them there. As you can see on the right, I had made some branches out of brown soap dough. This is just to give it the look of the cherry blossom tree. And last, I add the flowers. I noticed that I made them a little too big for this mold, so that's something to keep in mind. Three days later, I was able to remove them from the mold, although I actually should have been able to remove them maybe even the next day, but I wanted to be sure that I didn't have any stickiness in the mold. Something curious that I noticed was that about half of the bars at the very bottom had a spot where there was like a hole and it was a little moist. So I don't know if that was caused by the fragrance, if it was a fragrance pocket or not. But I did fill them with a little bit of the soap that was on the edges. And next are some pictures of the finished bars. Thank you for visiting, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, feel free to do so. If not, that's fine. I should be here next Thursday, Lord willing. Bye.